Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand today proudly to speak on this particular school food bill because anyone in this chamber who has kids who was a kid, which is everyone, knows the value of going to school with food in your belly. I mean, shoot, we take breaks often so we can have a snack so we can think properly. I mean, it's no different than children in school needing a little extra to kind of keep them going and keeping them engaged. And anyone who has worked in the school system, as my colleague had said, or with families and youth in any capacity knows how hard it is to learn or achieve on an empty stomach. I mean, this is why I'm always fired up, because I always eat before I come back in here, because I know that I need to have the energy to be engaged in the work that I do, right? So, and that wasn't even an example. My example is, which is why breakfast programs in communities are really important. I know in my own community we had a breakfast program every morning which the kids looked forward to because, it took away that stigma of not having something. All the kids went together, they all grabbed a snack for breakfast or grabbed a snack for lunch or their recess time. I don't know if that's still a thing. For recess, and they all went on the bus or they all got back to go to school together. So it takes away that feeling of like you don't have, or the impoverished feeling, right? And we know that having food, whether it's in schools or in programs, it also helps with the engagement of young people, their education, learning, and all of those pieces, and it helps to build those relationships in which my colleague had said, a number of teachers and a number of administrators, they come out of their pocket to do this work because it's not in the budget, but we need to make it a point to put it in the budget because our kids are our future. So according to Feed Nova Scotia, 1 in 6 households in our province are food insecure. And what is the meaning of food insecurity? The bottom line, it means inadequate access to affordable, healthy food. Food insecurity has numerous contributing factors, including, and I'll cite what Feed Nova Scotia, what I just tabled, systemic racism and oppression, precarious work and low wages, lack of affordable housing, lack of affordable childcare, inadequate income assistance levels, inadequate disability support, mental and physical health challenges, and the increased cost of living. So to put it in perspective, our province has among the lowest levels of income support in Canada. According to the CCPA in Nova Scotia, the employment support and income assistance rates for a single parent with one child is the lowest in the country, providing 57% of what's needed. 57%. What this means effectively is that if you're living on assistance in Nova Scotia, you're going to the food bank. And I know you've heard me say it before. In this House, I will say it again, food banks cannot be the solution to poverty. We love our food banks, absolutely. We appreciate the organizations and love the volunteers that run them because they do excellent jobs volunteering for no money, but just to see happy faces and people's bellies filled. But reliance on food banks is not a long-term solution for our province. Our caucus has spoken a lot in this House about the rising cost of food. And everybody knows this. So it's not a surprise. It's not like, ooh, you mean like what we paid $3 for 2 years ago, we pay $8 for? We know, we see it out of our money that we pay at the grocery store. And the impact of this is that this is having on our families, especially those low-income families, amid other financial pressures. The price tag on some grocery store items, as the leader of our party had said earlier, the items are simply shocking, like absolutely shocking. Even if you can afford it, it's shocking. And as prices go up, Nova Scotians are falling behind. This is devastating for families that already experience food insecurity, and it means more children going without healthy meals at home and in school. For years, the Nova Scotia NDP has been calling for a universal school food program. Frankly, it's hard to argue against the idea of providing free, nutritious foods to kids in the places where they're learning. Indeed, you would be hard-pressed to find a member of this House who would disagree on the principle with this policy. So why the debate? Well, we believe that this kind of support for kids shouldn't stop after grade 6. Absolutely not. It isn't as though food insecurity just disappears when a young person reaches a certain age. It isn't as though their family situation suddenly improves. And the last time I checked, when kids get older, they need more food, not less. My grocery bill went up extremely higher after I had under 5 than when I have teenagers and university students. So I can tell you, it's a lot of money. We aren't the only ones calling for universal school food program. The Nova Scotia Advisory for the Coalition of Healthy School Food, made up of numerous community stakeholders, is hard at work keeping this issue on the policy agenda. Leading this effort is Nourish Nova Scotia, a nonprofit that champions the right to healthy food and runs numerous school food and breakfast programs across our province. I would personally like to thank them for Nourish Nova Scotia for their indispensable role in supporting our youth, families, and local food producers, because I know that they have done a number of programs within Halifax, Needham, and we are truly grateful for that. As the coalition has highlighted, and as the media has reported, Canada is the only G7 country without a national school food program. The only one. This should be reason enough to get our act together. I mean, if not countrywide, at least in our small jurisdiction of 1 million people in Nova Scotia. A jurisdiction which, by the way, has one of the lowest minimum wages in the country. You may have heard us talk about that already. And speaking of jobs, there are clear economic benefits to a universal school food program beyond the costs of saving to families. When done right, these programs also create good jobs in our communities and support local agriculture. It's a kind of investment that goes directly to people who turn around and spend money on local businesses. It's a win-win for young people, their families, and our economy as a whole. Why not be innovative? So I want to say innovation, as was said by our Minister of Economic Development, is doing things differently, the core of any strong economy. So why not invest in ourselves? And I want to add to that, why not invest in our youth, invest in our children, invest in our communities? So why stop at grade 6? Why not implement a school food program that covers students from the moment they enter primary or pre-primary to the moment they graduate? Why not make this investment in a generation of learners during these formative years of their lives? School is supposed to be a place where everyone is equal. But in order for that to be true, we have to address the inequality that exists outside of our schools and in our communities. And with the cost of living on the rise, the need to do so is more urgent than ever. So school food programs are only one piece of this puzzle. Mind you this. School should not be, as we heard in this house before, the only place where children feel safe, warm, and fed. We have to see that people are housed adequately, safely, and affordably. And we have to address the cost of energy. We have to make sure people have enough income to buy their groceries. But school food, as part of our comprehensive poverty elimination strategy, can take us a long way towards where we need to be. We can do this in Nova Scotia. We can do it right, and we can do it now. So what are we waiting for? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I recognize the member for Glace Bay Dominion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for